Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we are going to practice some meditation. Sit comfortably. We are going to meditate on the dependent origination, a vipassana meditation. It's about examining and investigating the cause and effect mechanism. For the first time, it was discovered by the Buddha, fully enlightened, Supreme Buddha, the true nature of all living beings. It's called the dependent origination. Or dependent arising of causes and conditions lead to effects. Now we are going to investigate the same way that Buddha asked us to investigate the true nature of this life. Buddha asks us to investigate from the current situation, the current problem in life, which is suffering. All humans, all animals, all beings in the lower realms, all deities, heavenly beings, Brahmas, all beings are subject to aging. That's not a happy thing for beings. This aging process, beings experience so much suffering and pain. They experience the weakness of faculties. All beings are subject to sickness. That's not a happy thing. That is suffering. Physically and mentally, all beings suffer due to various types of diseases. And finally, all beings have to die, leaving all the loved ones and regrettable things behind. Everybody has to leave this world, or whatever world they live, they have to leave. That's a painful thing for beings. Separation from loved ones, separation from likable things. Buddha explained very clearly the meaning of death, breaking up of the five groups of clinging. Which is form, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness. The consciousness is released from the body. We call the person is dead. And that's a painful thing in the world. Dying is a painful thing. This aging, sickness, death, separation from loved ones, it's all mass of suffering that we experience. Is the noble truth of suffering. What is the cause of aging and death? Buddha discovered Jati Pachya Jara Marana. Birth is the cause of aging and death, and nothing else. Birth conditions aging and death. Dependent on birth, aging and death come to be. That means this is not the first time we are subject to aging, sickness, and death. As Buddha saw, we have been born countless times. Every time with birth, we experienced aging countless times. We experienced sickness countless times. We experienced death countless times. Because birth is the cause of aging and death. What is the cause of birth? The birth means obtaining of six sense bases. either in the womb of a mother, that is, womb-born generation, like humans and some animals. The six sense bases will be born in an egg, it's egg-born generation. Six sense bases will be born on a moisture environment, that is moisture-born generation. Other six sense bases will appear according to karma, like the devas are born, hell beings are born, and ghostly beings are born. Regardless of the way they are born, all beings have these six sense bases: eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, body base, and mind base. Obtaining of these six sense bases is called birth. Because all these six senses are made of impermanent causes and conditions. They are subject to aging, sickness, and death. That's how suffering comes about. Whatever is impermanent produces suffering. What is the cause of birth? What brings these six sense bases into existence? Because it's karma, arranging of karma to be ripened. Bhava pachya jati. Karma means actions of beings, things they do with their body, words they speak, thoughts they think. If they do good things with their body, speech, and mind, good karma is accumulated. If beings do bad things with their body, speech, and mind, bad karma is accumulated. Depending on the type of the karma that has been accumulated, the being will be reborn in a happier world, such as human world and heavenly world, or in a miserable plane, in a lower realm, such as hell, animal world, and ghost world. And that beings is subject to aging, sickness, and death. Karma is the cause of birth. Karma conditions birth. Why is this karma arranged and accumulated? What is the cause of karma? Buddha realized clinging, upada. Clinging is the cause of karma. Clinging conditions karma. If there is no clinging in a being, karma will not be accumulated. The peace, that person is an enlightened person. That person still would do things by body, speak words, think thoughts, but the karma is not arranged because clinging is ceased. But there are four types of clinging, as Buddha realized. Clinging to sense pleasures, worldly pleasures, clinging to views, clinging to wrong and meaningless rites and observances, clinging to the notion of self. As long as these four types of clinging are present, every time the karma is arranged, karma is accumulated, good or bad. Beings are not freed even a single moment of not accumulating karma. Every moment the karma is arranged. No matter where the being is, no matter where the being dies, no matter how the being dies, the being will get reborn. After getting reborn, the result is aging, sickness, and death. What is the cause of clinging? With what the clinging comes to be? Tanha, Achaya Upadan. When there is craving, there is clinging. Craving conditions clinging. If there is no craving, the being will still live without clinging. But because there is craving for sights, beautiful things, craving for sounds, craving for smells, craving for tastes, craving for tangibles, and craving for thoughts. As long as this craving exists, clinging exists. Craving leads to clinging. Craving conditions clinging. We think craving makes the life happy. Think craving brings us happiness. But the Buddha realized craving is a dangerous thing. Because of craving, clinging happens. Clinging arises. Because of clinging, arranging of karma arises. Because of arranging of karma, birth arises. Because of birth, aging, sickness, death, sorrow, crying, and all the mental and physical suffering arise. What is the cause of craving? Why can't we live without craving for things? Vedana prachaya tanha. Because of feeling, craving arises. When feeling exists, craving exists. There are 6 types of feelings. Feelings born of the eye contact. When we see things with our eyes, a feeling arises. A happy feeling, unhappy feeling, or neutral feeling. Feeling born of ear contact. Feeling born of nose contact. Feeling born of tongue contact. Feeling born of body contact. And feeling born of mind contact. Every time when we pay attention to the external world, outside world, a new type of contact arises. And this contact steals our peace and happiness. We are disturbed by different feelings changing instantly. Feelings, condition, craving. Because feelings, because we experience feelings with an ignorant mind, with the mind full of defilements, the craving is the result. And what is the cause of feeling? Buddha discovers contact is the cause of feeling. Union of the three is contact. Union of the internal sense base, external object, and the consciousness. Dependent on contact feeling arises. What is the cause of contact? Six sense bases are the cause of contact. As long as six sense bases exist, contact arises. That is what we gain when we are reborn. We obtain eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Seeing these six sense bases as a baby, our parents are so happy. But these six sense bases function as enemies. When they exist with ignorance and lack of true knowledge, they are the same cause of suffering. Six sense bases conditions contact. Contact conditions feeling. Feeling conditions craving. Craving conditions clinging. Clinging conditions arranging of karma. Arranging of karma conditions birth. Birth conditions aging and death. What condition six sense bases? What is the cause of six sense bases? And Buddha realized the deep, very subtle, profound answer. Namarupa Pachya Salhayatana. Dependent on mentality and materiality, six sense bases arise. There is a physical background behind sense bases, and also there is mental background, which is called nama, feeling, perception, volition, and attention. Dependent on mentality and materiality, six sense bases arise. Mentality and materiality condition six sense bases. So these six sense bases is not a creation of a person. They have been conditioned by mentality and materiality. What is the cause of mentality and materiality? The Buddha realized consciousness conditions mentality and materiality. Consciousness is the cause of mentality and materiality. That is eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. What is the cause of consciousness? Sankhara Pacha Vijnana. Three types of sankhara: conditioned consciousness, kaya sankhara, bodily formations; vachi sankhara, verbal formations; and chitta sankhara, mental formations. Kaya sankhara, in and out breathing; vachi sankhara, applied and sustained thought; chitta sankhara, sanya vedana, perception and feeling. Together, condition, consciousness. What is the cause of sankhara formations? Avidya pacha sankhara. It is the lack of knowledge of the truth, not realizing the Four Noble Truths, not realizing suffering as it is, not realizing the cause of suffering as it is, not realizing the end of suffering as it is, and not realizing the path leading to the end of suffering as it is. This ignorance, this avidya, this lack of knowledge of the truth of life leads to formations, sankhara. A person is breathing in, breathing out with lack of knowledge of the truth. A person speaks with lack of knowledge of the truth. A person perceives and feels with the lack of knowledge of the truth. A deluded consciousness arises. That consciousness conditions mentality and materiality. Ignorant mentality and materiality conditions six sense bases. Six sense bases condition contact. Contact conditions feeling. Feeling conditions craving. Craving conditions clinging. Clinging conditions arranging of common. Arranging of common conditions. Birth conditions. Aging. Sickness. Death. Sorrow. Physical pain. Mental pain. And suffering. That's why Buddha realized in order to stop suffering, one has to realize the Four Noble Truths as they really are. One has to understand the Noble Truth of suffering as a noble truth. One has to understand the Noble Truth of the cause of suffering as a noble truth. One has to understand the noble truth of the end of suffering as a noble truth. One has to understand the noble truth of the way leading to the end of suffering as a noble truth. Vidya should be aroused. Vidya is the answer. Knowledge of the Four Noble Truths is the answer, is the solution. When Vidya comes, when the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths comes, ignorance or lack of knowledge of the truth is ceased. With the cessation of ignorance, with the arising of true knowledge, the formations cease. With the cessation of formations, consciousness ceases. Sankhara Nirodha, Vijnana Nirodha. With the cessation of consciousness comes the cessation of mentality and materiality. With the cessation of mentality and materiality comes the cessation of six sense bases. The person would still see the world, hear sounds, smell things, taste things, experience tangibles, and think thoughts, but there are no defilements. It's a freed mind. It's a peaceful living. External world no longer bothers that person. The person is not carried away by external objects. Those are the six sense bases of an enlightened being, a liberated person. The bridge that connects the sense base and the external world is cut off. The bridge is destroyed. The bridge is the desire. When the person opens eyes, there is no desire. The person hears sounds, there is no desire. The person smells things, there is no desire. The person tastes things, there is no desire. The person experiences tangibles, there is no desire. The person thinks thoughts, there is no desire. There is an undefiled happiness inside. That's the meaning of the cessation of six sense bases. With the cessation of six sense bases comes the cessation of contact. The contact is no longer a burden for that person. The contact no longer creates problems in life. The person can see very clearly. Contact arises, contact passes away. With the cessation of contact comes the cessation of feeling. He is not carried away by pleasant feelings. He is not repelled by unpleasant feelings. He is not deluded by neutral feelings. He clearly sees, dependent on contact, feelings arise. With the cessation of contact, feeling ceases. He clearly sees impermanence of all feelings. Nothing to hold on to. There is no feeling that can be considered as mine. I am, or myself. All the feelings last but a while and disappear. None of the feelings follow the order of anybody. As long as contacts present, feeling exists. As soon as the contact changes, feeling changes. He can see that very clearly. That's how he lives, seeing the impermanence of feelings. Instead of being carried away by feelings, instead of being governed by feelings, he lives seeing the change of feelings. With the cessation of feeling, craving ceases. He already has understood there is nothing in this world to crave for. He clearly has seen the craving is the cause of suffering. He already has seen the bliss of detachment, bliss of liberation, bliss of zero craving. He has the pure kindness in heart. He has the pure compassion in heart. He has the pure gratitude in heart. Because there is no craving. With the cessation of craving comes the cessation of clinging. He is freed from the clinging to weeds, clinging to sense desires, clinging to wrong practices and meaningless rituals, clinging to the notion of self. He is freed of all the clinging. With the cessation of clinging comes the cessation of arranging of karma. He has this amazing life. No matter what he does, no matter what he speaks, no matter what he thinks, there is no karma arrangement. There is no karma accumulation. It's an amazing life discovered by the Buddha, the only solution for the suffering in this world. The highest stage then that a human being can achieve, a god can achieve, a Brahma can achieve. A life is living without karma is arranged. The cessation of the arranging of karma comes the cessation of birth, bhava nirodha, jati nirodha. The person is freed from birth. This is going to be his final life. He's bearing his final body. There is not going to be another body which is subject to aging, sickness, and death. This is the only body he's having in this long journey of samsara. This is the final body. In this long journey of samsara, he had countless bodies, various types of bodies, in various shapes, with various pains and problems. Now he has come to the end of bodies. When he had bodies in this long journey of samsara, every time he has to leave the body, and body became the part of a ground, part of this ground. Buddha explains, every time when we die, the skeleton is left behind. If there was somebody to collect the skeletons, and the collection is not destroyed, and the collection would make up a huge, huge mountain, like the Vepola mountain, one of the biggest mountain in the world. That many skeletons can be found in a single being wandering and journeying in this samsara, in this cycle of birth and death. But this fortunate being who has achieved the cessation of dependent origination is bearing his final body. He's not going to add any more bodies to this ground called the cemetery. With the cessation of birth comes the cessation of aging, cessation of sickness, and cessation of death, cessation of sorrow, cessation of physical pain, cessation of mental pain, cessation of all mass of suffering, which is Nibbana. Nibbana means the cessation of dependent origination. All the causes and conditions have been stopped, so there are no effects to be arranged. Cause and effect mechanism has been stopped. He is the fortunate person on this earth. He has achieved Nibbana, freedom from suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.